Baker Mayfield to Carolina, my initial take is it's good for him. He got an offensive coach, Matt Rule. You don't want defensive coaches. Kirk Cousins struggled with Mike Zimmer. Denver had a defensive coach. Russell Wilson couldn't get along with Pete Carroll. At the end, Brady struggled with Bill Belichick. You want an offensive coach. That's the way the game is headed. And I just think it just works with an offensive coach. I mean, Brian Flores didn't get along with Tua. We've had like multiple instances of a defensive coach and a quarterback struggling in 2021, 2022. So Baker gets an offensive coach who's coached at the college level, so he's aware of Baker's talent. And so I think it's a pretty good landing spot for him. The other thing is the AFC has so many great young quarterbacks, Herbert and Burrow and Mahomes and Allen, that Baker just doesn't feel in that class. In the NFC where he's going, that's not the case. They don't have a lot of great young quarterbacks. The young quarterbacks are like, Jalen Hurts. Well, I mean, Baker's in that class. When I look at the NFC young quarterbacks, I mean, Brady's retiring in a year. Aaron could be out of there in 2 years. The NFC is wide open. I felt like in the AFC's now got Deshaun Watson, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Burrow, Derek Carr, Russell Wilson. Baker just feels second tier. It doesn't quite feel that way in the NFC. And Brady's gone in a year. So I think frankly, it's a bad division he's going to. In 1 year, it could be a terrible division when Brady retires. So, it's not the worst landing spot. And the Carolina's getting him for nothing. They've got a very intense kind of Steve Ballmer-like owner, so he's going to spend money to win. They're not going to be cheap down in Carolina. So there's a lot of advantages here. I think you got a better owner in Carolina than Cleveland. I think you have two really smart offensive coaches. Cleveland's got a much better offensive line, so Baker's going to find out what Sam Darnold is. You got to be running for your life about every third drop back. That's the downside. They got to get that offensive line fixed in Carolina because Baker is just not the kind of athlete that can create stuff off script. But there are way worse landings for Baker Mayfield than Carolina. I like it much more than Seattle and much more than Atlanta. My nemesis, not really, he got traded to Carolina. So let me line up the good things for Baker Mayfield. Let's be glass half full. They just drafted Ike Ekwonu, a left tackle from NC State. Everybody loves him. So the big issue with that franchise was bad at left tackle, bad at corner. They drafted a corner last year, J.C. Horn, who broke his foot. He'll be back. So they got a couple of young stars that are going to solve some problems. And they've made some moves on the offensive line. So Carolina's O-line is like bottom of the league. But they have a star left tackle. They went and got Corbett on the interior. They'll be better. So that's the good news. J.C. Horn will be back. They're bad at corner. They shouldn't be. He's a great young potential player. His dad, Joe Horn, excellent NFL receiver. The division's really bad. When Brady leaves in a year, Baker could be the best quarterback. It's a bad division. It's the worst division in football if Tom Brady left. It's a mess. So that's the good news. The good news is it looks like they have a left tackle. The O-line should be better. Now, the Darnold thing is a weird dynamic. My guess is Carolina moves Darnold out of town. I think you want to separate those two. They came in together. Not that they don't get along, but you want to give Baker the snaps. You don't want to be splitting snaps. Just give Baker the team. Give him the snaps. Give him the team. That's what I would do. It would give him a greater opportunity to succeed. And Sam Darnold, New York Giants, he was with the Jets. Who knows? There's 7-8 teams out there that are a mess at quarterback. But the good news is left tackle, star corner, offensive coach, a well-heeled owner, bad division, and Brady's retiring. The bad news, the roster mostly stinks. It's rated 27th in the NFL. Cleveland is rated 6th, according to PFF. Their over-under was 6.5. And that's in a weak division. So it's not a well-constructed roster as of now. They're going to need that rookie left tackle to be really good right now because there's some good pass rushers in that division right now. And also the Sam Darnold equation. You want to be sharing snaps with him? I don't like that. You do have Christian McCaffrey. DJ Moore is an excellent receiver. Robbie Anderson's not a bad over-the-top receiver. Got good speed. Here's, I guess, what I would say. The over-under on Carolina this morning before this trade was 6.5. I would bet the over now. I think they feel like a 7-10 team. I don't have any great conviction on it, but I think to this point, Baker has been more consistently accurate than Sam Darnold. He's not as athletic. He's not as big or as athletic. But I think he's been a more consistent, quicker release, gets the ball out faster than Sam Darnold does. And so they feel, it feels like a half. Over-under, Fox Bet, FanDuel was 6.5. I think it could move to 7. I'd play the over on that a little bit. But here's the other thing that just jumps out to me. When you think, I was writing this down during the break, Baker Mayfield's been traded to Carolina for a conditional 5th-round pick. When you think of the top quarterbacks in the AFC, regardless of their age, Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Derek Carr, they absolutely are significantly better than Baker. That is not an argument. But you go over to Baker's new conference, there's Brady, gone in a year, and then there's Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray, all clearly more talented. But after that, Baker can sling it with Kirk Cousins. Baker can sling it with Dak. The NFC is going to have some bad teams over the next 2 years, and they're going to draft quarterbacks. Seattle's going to draft one, and Atlanta's going to draft one, and we thought Carolina may draft one. The Giants are going to draft one. There's some quarterback messes in the NFC. There are not a lot in the AFC. It's going to be much harder over the next 5 years to get to the Super Bowl out of the AFC than it is out of the NFC. And I'm not saying Baker's getting to a Super Bowl, but Baker in the NFC doesn't feel like a backup. You start looking at the top of the AFC right now, the veteran quarterbacks, the young quarterbacks, Baker just doesn't feel like he's just not in that space. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.